Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because right now we are seeing a massive bump to the upside, which basically exactly played out as I talked about in yesterday's video. So again, guys, do not miss these important market updates here. Either way, for now, let's take a look at these big levels of support and resistance for Bitcoin, because right now Bitcoin is trading inside this big level of resistance, sitting from 65,000 all the way up to 66K for the Bitcoin price. So if we now break above 66K for the Bitcoin price, the next big level of resistance is all the way from 67.5K up to 70,000 US dollars. However, I do expect that we are still going to see a little bit of resistance here in the immediate short term, because we obviously just saw this massive pump to the upside. And if we take a look at the RSI momentum indicator for Bitcoin, this is now also in deep overbought territory at about 75 on the RSI. So usually what you'll see when the RSI is in overbought territory is that the RSI would reset back down a little bit. For example, down to this 50 level here. In this case, though, it could be the case that overnight we basically see the RSI reset back down a little bit and then get another move to the upside later on in this week, potentially even tomorrow, because like I said, we are in a strong uptrend, but at the same time, I am expecting the price to cool off here just a little bit sometime very soon. If we take a look at the Fibonacci levels here for Bitcoin, after we broke out above this 0.65 level, we basically immediately shot up to this next Fibonacci level here, the 0.786 Fibonacci level, sitting at 65.6K for the Bitcoin price. And currently we are actually trading above this. So, I mean, ideally we keep kind of chopping around above this level, and then breaking above these recent highs here would be another short-term bullish signal here in the charts. However, in terms of a short-term warning signal, it would be trading below this 0.786 level, because this would point towards some short-term bearish price action potentially, or basically, like I said earlier in the video, just the price cooling off here a little bit. But I mean, obviously just trade with the trend, and right now the trend is up. So therefore shorting a move to the upside like this is a very risky thing to do. But at the same time, it would not surprise me at all if we now again see that price cool off just a little bit. So that's about it for the short term for Bitcoin. Right now, if we take a look at the 1-day time frame, you can see that we are at the very top of this descending channel that Bitcoin has been trading in for the past 6 or 7 months or so. And the base case on this channel the entire time has been that we are going to keep chopping this range and eventually break out of the top here, getting another larger move actually to the upside, potentially breaking these all-time highs here. And for now, I do think if we get that daily candle close above these daily candle closes here, that would be another bullish signal, especially if we actually start breaking out above this descending channel. Over the next week here, I mean, it is definitely possible that this actually turns out to be the breakout, but we should be very aware of potential warning signals that we are seeing in the charts. Potentially, it could be like a bearish divergence or something like this, because seeing a bearish divergence in the charts is very easy to ignore if the price action is extremely bullish and everyone is very excited in the market. But at the same time, we saw it here last time as well, where I was giving some warning signals as we were going to the top of the descending channel here. At the time, a lot of people were saying that I was completely wrong and I was just a perma bear and stuff like this. But then we saw another big move to the downside. This was about a 10-12% move to the downside here. So stuff like that is completely possible. And therefore, you should always be aware of short-term warning signals. Although for now, like I said, the only short-term warning signal that I'm seeing is that we are in overbought territory on the 4-hour RSI. And therefore, yeah, we could expect the price to cool off a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean a full-on reversal back to the downside. Now, if we take a look at the 1 week time frame here for Bitcoin, you can see that, well, we have a beautiful setup here on that 1 week RSI. So obviously this is something that I covered extensively on the channel here over the past couple months, but you may remember that I called out this breakout here on this RSI, which actually aligned with this 54K level. and that is actually the week where we broke above this RSI downtrend. At the time I was saying we could see another wobble here, potentially even a retest of that trend line. We didn't get that retest. We are now just full on breaking out on this RSI, and the higher we actually go above this 50 level here, the more bullish the price action actually becomes. So that is something to note as well. So if we now start to see this RSI really move further to the upside, and we're breaking out above this descending channel, to me this looks like an extremely bullish setup here. But as I said, always be cautious getting too excited in the markets, even though obviously when everyone's making money, everyone's very hyped in the market, right? But yeah, try to stay level-headed during times like this, even when everything is completely mooning right now. I will continue to try to be as objective as possible. So now let's take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on this 1 week time frame. Yesterday, we looked at this and we saw this big level of liquidity to the upside at about 63.5K for the Bitcoin price, saying, yeah, it was very likely that we would end up taking out this big level of liquidity, potentially reaching higher to grab more liquidity here at 65K, for example. So today, we actually took out all of these short positions here, and we ended up grabbing all of this liquidity. So now on this 1 week time frame, most of the liquidity is actually to the downside at 61.8K. However, if we zoom out to the 1 month time frame, you can see that we are now very close to taking out this big level of liquidity here, sitting as high as 67.3K and as low as about 66.6K for the Bitcoin price. So this is another big pocket of liquidity that we could be taking out sometime this week here. In the case that you're not familiar with these charts, basically all you need to know is that typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. And in this case, we have a big level of liquidity on the 1 month time frame at 66.7K, roughly speaking. And we have that big level of liquidity at about 58.7K. But as I said, currently we are in an uptrend. So therefore it is more likely that we are sweeping liquidity to the upside first. However, if we now start to see more warning signals or an actual reversal in the charts, then these big levels of liquidity to the downside could become potential price targets for Bitcoin. So that is just something to keep in mind in the case that we actually see those reversal signals. So this has been today's market update. Before I leave off here today, guys, make sure to check out these exchanges in the video description, especially if you're trading crypto with leverage, because these are the best exchanges that I personally trade on as well, that have much lower fees than the other exchanges out there. For example, MEXC is like 10 times cheaper than Coinbase. Stuff like this can really save you a lot of money over time. And besides that, there are a bunch of sign-up bonuses if you actually register on these exchanges. Now, if you're in the United States, Blofin and MEXC are not available to you, but I also link to WEEX, which you can also trade on, and you get a 33% trading fee discount if you use my link in the video description here. And as well, you get up to $4,000 in exclusive futures bonuses. Regardless, if you do end up joining those exchanges or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.